This is a disaster. Okay, get in the water. Fuck this shit.
You're gonna be okay, Milo. Milo, your mask is dirty. It's better. Holy. Yeah, just wash it. That's gonna be crazy. We're out of the water now.
No surf, no reef. Can you take somebody in the truck at a time? Because it's
looking at the car.
Oh no!
And then we got trapped.
Yep. Yeah, power went out maybe 5:30.
We're trying, man.
Hurry the fuck.
Beat the horn, Dad. Beat the horn.
Oh, what the fuck, dude?
Beat the horn. Beat the horn.
Yo, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yo, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck?
Oh, God damn it. Just go. Just fire through there. Go.
You need to go, bro.
Yeah, go, go, go. Come on. Come on, baby. Come on, baby.
What the fuck?
What is this? Yeah.
Where?
Just go.
Yo.
Damn, it's hot. Just go, Dad. We're good.
Motherfucker.
Off road.
Fuck. Oh, quick.
Yeah, we're good.
Oh my god, dude.
It's okay, it's okay. Let's go. We're almost to the end of the mill. We're almost to the smokestack.
Oh, we made it. We're gonna line on the road now pretty soon. But we don't. Oh, somebody down right there.
What the fuck?
Oh, it's okay. We're almost to the smokestack. Is there anybody?
It's a real Mexican grill, bro. Fuck.
No, they're not even close to where they're supposed to be. Over there.
For real, bro. People are gonna get fucked over there, man.
No, I don't know yet. We're trapped right now.
We're trapped.
We're still headed down La Lahaina Luna Road. The car in front of us caught on a wire. I can see on the left side.
Watch this side.
Yeah. So far, so good, Dad. Go. Just keep going. Follow that car.
Yeah, but where? Oh, look at this.
Where? Can we go to Front Street? Is anybody on Front Street?
They said Civic Center is a shelter. Civic Center.
Help us! Oh, send your angels! Look!
Guys, start praying.
Lord! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! No, we gotta get out or something.
There's nowhere to go. The fuck?
The car! The car! The car!
Fucking bird.
We have to go! We have to go! We... Oh no! Oh no, guys! No, we have to leave! We have to leave! No, there's a car behind! We have...
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah, the pole fell on their truck. Island Catering.
Cool. Belina Mai Pakahiapa. Welcome to each and every one of you. I want to start off by pointing out why I'm wearing red this morning, or this afternoon, I should say. School started today, and many of our Lahaina Luna students and Lahaina school students have been welcomed into other campuses throughout Maui. One of our two West Maui high schools, Lahaina Luna, but the one most affected, sent its students to other campuses across Maui. Many of these students are survivors of the fires, and some of them lost families, some of them lost homes, many of them lost friends. But the high schools welcoming them today here across the island were asked to wear red by the DOE to show support for these students, as that's their school colors.
Aloha. Again, from the world, we need your patience, we need your prayers, and we will persevere through this. 110 is the number, 38% is the area searched. We have, as we opened up the road, because of the incredible efforts of the National Guard and the other forces that are here, as well as other law enforcement agencies from within the state, to include the sheriffs, to include Big Island PD, to include HPD, to include the FBI and others. We've been able to reinforce the affected burn zone or the disaster zone, and because of that, we were able to open up the road. Now, there is a difference between need and want. If you need to get over there, go. If you want to get over there, don't go. Be part of the solution, not part of the problem. I need you guys and my officers and the members in these uniforms sworn oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Nevada. And I understand Constitution of the State of Hawaii, which is another one that I swore to uphold. Forgive me. I got to tell you, I met with them. I'm also the coroner, for those that don't know that, and I was extremely pleased. And what this team of servants, we're all servants, is doing is we're every day asking what's working, what's not, and how can we improve. And so we are going to adjust, and we are going to pivot, and we're going to be doing things, and you might be asking, why are they doing that? Why are they changing? Because we're doing things to make this the best plan possible.
Mahalo, Steve. Now I would like to open up to questions from the media. I'd like to remind everyone that we welcome all questions, but do ask for your kindness and aloha in asking them. Please raise your hand and await my acknowledgement, at which time I will ask you to state your name and news organization before proceeding with asking your question. I will also repeat the question to ensure clear communications. In the spirit of allowing everyone in attendance the time to ask a question, we kindly request your kokua in raising one question per news organization versus per person in attendance. Mahalo nui, and I will start. Christy, name and news organization, please.
Christy Palmashiro from KH12 News. My question is going back to sirens. Why were sirens not used in Lahaina or upcountry last week, as Wildfire is listed as a purpose for them on the official state website?
So the question is around siren use, clarification on that, noting that Wildfire use for sirens is stated on the website. Mahalo.
Counties in the state of Hawaii will tell you that sirens have not been used for brush fires. It is our practice to use the most effective means of conveying an emergency message to the public during a wildland fire. And it is the WEA, NES, along with other local mass notification system called MEMA alerts.
Patience, I promise. Okay, our next question, I'm going to take it in the back. Diane.
Diane Arco from KITV. I was wondering, I'm reading these national articles about how there were bodies found in trees, bodies huddled together, and the death toll still continues to be super low as based compared to what people are saying or what I'm hearing on the ground. Like, I understand that Chief Pelletier has talked about patient. That's for an ID process, but is there like a higher body count that we're not hearing about?
So the question is just around clarifying the body count or the death toll.
I really do appreciate the question. We have to be respectful because we got one chance to do this. We got one chance to do this right. And that's what I said, we're going to do it right. Now, we did, on the beginning few days, the recovery for the areas that we could see, whether it was on the street or in a car. And with all due respect, we haven't made notifications. And I am not going to say how we found people when I haven't even told their families. How do I do that? You know, have we found remains that are maybe smaller than other remains? I'm not going to sit here and sensationalize that. But the answer to that is yes. But we haven't, what I'm talking about is children. Okay? So we're going to do this right. We have to identify them and then notify them. But that's what we're dealing with. We brought in all these extra resources because we need them. And in a rush to go and paint a picture of what the number is, and I said, I don't know that final number yet. It's growing, it's going to continue to grow. We've got 38% that we've searched. But we have to do this right and realize that the responders that are going out there are recovering their loved ones and members of their families because we have an integrated, unified, urban search and rescue team. And when we recover it, we're going to treat it and it is not, what I'm saying is when we recover the decedent, we're going to treat it with the reverence, the care, and the respect that it deserves. And we have members of the armed forces local from Maui here that are making sure that we do this with the utmost honor possible. I know everybody wants to get that story. I know everybody wants to know, hey, who's on that list? But again, we've got one chance to do this right. And I'm not going to rush it. I'm sorry.
I see everyone, I promise. Thank you for your patience. I'm going to ask if you have a question related to Herman, please lower your hand. I'm going to give him just a one question break, okay? I'll go here.
All right, Bobby Calvon with the Associated Press and a product of the land of Aloha.
Thank you.
And this is for anybody who might be willing to answer this question. You know, after more than a week, public frustration has grown to the point that there's been a breakdown and loss of trust. You know, there's been early missteps, some failures. That's all added to this mistrust, public mistrust. Now much of the operation is actually being conducted, you know, out of the public eye. That mistrust grows even more. For example, people are kind of wondering, you know, whether or not the body counts are true. You know, there are lots of opinions being shared on social media. You've seen all that. The pace of recovery, the safety of water, and that, you know, officials are withholding information and aren't being forthcoming. How do you make sure that people believe what you're saying and regain the public's trust?
So the question is around public trust.
Well, first and foremost, if you're relying on social media, with all due respect...
That's just an example, sir.
Well, as the example you used,
Yeah.
It's a terrible example because social media is the worst source.
Well, sir, you just have to go out and talk out people out in the street.
I think you'll let me answer the question as governor. Doing reporting through social media is idiotic. Doing reporting in person is intelligent. I'm glad you're doing some of that. We also, as you can imagine, are speaking to people constantly. Everyone is speaking to me through my cell phone. Same can be said of our local officials. We are local people like you described. Don't use social media to judge these questions. You have people who are predators on social media. We know that for a fact. You have people who want to spread negativity. I think you're aware that in this state, for the last going on 5 years now, I and others give you raw data on these crises. Very few other municipalities do that kind of thing. We give you updates constantly. You can say you want all you want, that there's public mistrust, but then when the people go out, whether it's people restoring power or the firefighters or the police, we are watching them be mahaloed by people who love them. Do mistakes happen? Absolutely. In a crisis circumstance. Do you expect water to be perfect after the largest fire in the history of any municipality? No. We report that. We started in a comprehensive review within 72 hours. So I know it can be enjoyable to say there are failures, that there's lack of trust. You can look here and see if you can trust me. You can look at this strong gentleman behind me as mayor and ask whether you trust him.
Let me just say to you, I can't answer why people don't trust people. There's bad people in the community. There's bad cops, there's good cops, there's bad priests, good priests, bad media, good media. My guess is you verify all of your sources before you print or write. You make sure that those folks are accurate, that are giving you answers. Anybody can stand here and say, oh, I hear this, I heard this, somebody said this. If you want to verify it and give a name and you tell me the name of the person who said that, where they live, if they're from here, if they're from somewhere else, that might help you with who to trust. The people that were trying to put out these fires lived in those homes. 25 of our firefighters lost their homes that they were trying to put out. You think they were trying to do a halfway job? You think the people that live here that are helping don't care that they're trying? I mean, you spend a lot of time in here, but go out in the field. Get off your phone. Get off your tablet. Go and talk to people. Talk to the people. Talk to the people born and raised here. Talk to the people who are trying to piece it together. The reason you should trust us is because this is our home. The reason you should trust us is we're the ones who suffered the loss. That's the reason you should trust us.
Okay, I'm going to reset the room. So here's how we're going to move forward with the balance of time. When you are called upon and your question is asked, I'm going to insist, not request anymore, that you please allow the answer to be given. If you have a follow-up question, you're welcome to flag me, and I may or may not grant that. I likely will. But I'm just asking for kindness and aloha like I set forward in the very beginning, and we're not really demonstrating that right now. Okay? So in good faith, when you ask your question, if you have a follow-up, I will grant that. But I'm asking you guys to allow the answer to be given, because right now we're cutting people off, and nobody is cutting you folks off as you're asking the questions. Okay? I'm going to go here.
My name is Miguel Almaguer with NBC.
Aloha, Miguel.
For the chief or whoever deems it to be acceptable.
Great.
During the height of the evacuation, some evacuees said they were forced to turn around because of roadblocks, or they were actually forced back towards the fire by emergency responders. What is your reaction?
So the question is around roadblocks and the impact of that as it relates to evacuation.
Appreciate the question. The only roadblock was way past West Maui, way past Napili, which Kakaloa, it's the one-way road, and we made it a one-way road so that we can get emergency vehicles in, but nowhere was that anywhere near the burn or the affected zone. And I would just say this, I've been here almost 2 years, and I consider myself a guest of the people that I'm blessed to serve. I'm a guest, and I'm the chief of police. What Maui doesn't trust are people, even from other islands, coming here to tell us what's best for us. We will decide. Our people, who we love and we sacrifice for, they trust us, they love us, and we love them. And if it means we die doing our job, so be it, because that's what we chose. Maui trusts her own.
Okay, we'll go over here. One question, name and news organization, please.
My name is Conchino Ya. I work for DW Germany. My question is to you said there are federal laws that allow for people to buy properties, and right now I've been talking to a lot of locals who have lost their homes, and they are not at a very vulnerable position, so they are trying to figure out what to do. Some are leaving, and some are reporting that they are receiving calls from people who claim to be realtors and want to purchase their land. Are you aware of this information? How are you handling, do you have a list of people who are in this situation, and how do you, what is your plan to prevent that from happening?
So the question is around clarifying the lands lost during the devastation and predatory practices.
No, that's a very good question. So in order to prevent people from taking advantage and acting in a predatory way toward our local people, I've asked the Attorney General to not allow transactions. She's working out the legality of that in this emergency phase. It is difficult based on the national laws, but we do have a lot of capacity. First and foremost, a clear message from me that I will not be authorizing any building permits or capacity on this land if there's predatory behavior. I view predatory behavior as illegal in this circumstance, and we will prosecute people to the full extent of the law if they misrepresent what they're doing, which is to try to take land from people who are vulnerable and facing severe economic consequences. That's one. Two, we have had, yes, reports of people who are not actually even in the realty industry reaching out, and that is unacceptable to us. So, forgive me. So what we're doing about that is we reached out to the Realtors Association to help support us and prevent anyone from coming into this market and, I guess, participating in transactions. But most importantly, I would like to see a long-term moratorium specifically on sale of lands if it's not going to benefit local people for other local people. We will bring resources here from outside. There always is going to be investment in Hawaii, but we don't want to see land bought up. And so what I also will do is put together a group of people who are interested in financially supporting all of our recovery mission, not to buy land up and to hold it, but simply to secure where we are as a community. And I do believe that there are both affluent people and regular working people who are contributing to that kind of a mission, to keep the land in local people's hands.
I'm going to go here. Christina, name and news organization, please.
The NEMA director said that he does not regret not activating the sirens. Going forward, if there are intense fires threatening a residential area on any island, will county and state officials consider activating the siren system for fire?
The question is around siren activation going forward in similar disasters.
We will review the process, but once again, as I've said, most of our sirens are on the coastline. So if there is a fire occurring inland, the sirens will be of no use.
Maui Police Chief confirms to HNN that there were barricades set up in Lahaina to keep people away from downed power lines. The information is being spotlighted in international press, but the chief is pushing back against criticism, telling HNN it's too premature to second-guess those decisions.
For residents of Lahaina who found themselves trying to outrun deadly wildfires, the difference between life and death meant whether they were willing to disobey the authorities. A new AP report reveals that road closures trapped people stuck in traffic gridlock, desperately trying to flee the flames. Some survivors say they were only able to escape was by blowing past government barriers by car or on foot.
Nearly 1,000 fire victims remain missing and unaccounted for.
I don't want to compare difficulties, but we have a little sense, Jill and I, what it's like to lose a home. Years ago, now 15 years ago, I was in Washington doing Meet the Press. It was a sunny Sunday. And lightning struck at home on a little lake that's outside of our home, not a lake, a big pond, and hit a wire and came up underneath our home into the heating ducts, the air conditioning duct. To make a long story short, I almost lost my wife, my 67 Corvette, and my cat. God made man, then he made a few firefighters. You're all crazy, thank God. The only people who run into flames to help other people. And they ran into flames to save my wife and save my family. Not a joke. The smoke, and the firefighters here can tell you, sometimes smoke is so thick from the windows out, it was that thick inside the home. And we were insured. We did not have any problem, but being out of our home for a better part of a year was difficult. I can only imagine what it's like to lose your home completely, burned to the ground, and more importantly, all the things that matter to you from that ring he gave you when you were 19 years old, from that special letter that came for your son or your daughter, the little things that matter most, the album, the family albums, all of it is a touchstone to all the things we care about and lose.
We were so concerned about what was happening in Maui that we were texting back and forth. And I read this article that Dolly Parton had given money in her community. And I said, I think this is the answer. You said, I think that's the answer.
I said, I love it.
And so we have created the People's Fund of Maui that will put money directly in the hands of the people who need it right now. So if you send a donation, just click where you see below and send a donation. That money is going to go to one of many residents who have been displaced in Maui, we guarantee.
That's right. And I know a lot of people out there, as Oprah and I have been finding, are just having a hard time trusting where the money goes. What organizations should I send money to? How can I help? In this case, the fund that we created with a lot of hard work from a lot of hardworking people who all care about these people of Maui. As Oprah was saying, it is a clean, direct from you directly to their hands, and right away with some real immediacy, because as we're finding, as you guys around the world know, with disasters like this, the number one need is money.
Is money. Is money.
In hand.
What caused the fires?
I know, and you know, I would guess the most likely thing is that there was an electrical, fire and the winds made it spread. That's the most likely thing. But why shouldn't you have a conspiracy theory when they're not telling you anything and they're purposely lying to cover for?
I also don't know why that's a conspiracy theory when you're just positing possibilities. Meaning, like, it's not impossible, and you're not saying that it actually happened.
Well, from the very
that
beginning, people were saying like Oprah burned things down so she could.
Well, I mean that kind of stuff is crazy. Like Oprah, I feel like has better things. I mean, she does own a space laser, so I mean, theoretically you could. But the what this always comes down to for me every single time is government mismanagement of these disasters. And you know the way you can tell is when they start blaming the other stuff, right? So when there was a hurricane that hit Florida and knocked out a bridge, the bridge got rebuilt inside of 2 days. And things got fixed. When the same hurricane then moved up into the Northeast and flooded part of the Northeast, the media spent the next week talking about how climate change was responsible for the fact that there was flooding in the streets of New Jersey, as though the human failures there had nothing to do with anything. The human failures here are astonishing. I mean, astonishing. There's an article from the AP today where they go into detail about what it was like to be in Lahaina and what exactly was happening on a minute-to-minute basis. The cops set up perimeters around Lahaina because there's only one road in and one road out of Lahaina. It's really hard to get in and to get out. That's particularly true if you're on Front Street, which is the part that's like right by the water. And they were telling people to turn back because they were downed electrical wires. So you're talking about like triaging a problem. How about like direct people around the electrical wires? The people who disobeyed the cops lived. The people who listened to the cops who went back to Lahaina died.
Shuan had defended people on Twitter asking these questions because they were getting ripped to shreds by verified accounts. And she said, when people distrust their leaders after decades of being gaslit and lied to, you get conspiracy theorists. I don't know how somebody can look at our history and come to the conclusion that this is all in the past and we don't do shit like that anymore. This is literally just pattern recognition. which it is. We know we've been lied to before. We know we've been screwed over before. So we're simply asking questions to figure out the truth.
How many children are missing? You know.
I knew the answer to that. I would be happy to answer that.
You have no estimate as to how many children are missing?
I guess
Nothing?
we can end this right now if you guys want. Sorry,
This is one of the biggest questions that the people of Lahaina have, but you don't want to answer.
It always takes one or two to ruin it for everybody. Please, this is our first time.
The guy who was on Oahu when the fires happened, he didn't show his face in public to the media or to the community until 8 or 9 days after the crisis. The guy who should have been talking to the media every single day in the hours and days after, he didn't show his face in public until day 8 or 9. And that was when he said that he didn't regret sounding the alarm system, which is a whole other, like, his response made no sense whatsoever. And then he resigned.
Do you know him
the day
personally?
after. I don't.
What is the controversy about the alarm system?
So that was the question, was like, Hawaii has a state-of-the-art alarm system. We are the most remote island chain in the world. And as a result, natural disasters is kind of a part of life. Tsunamis or hurricanes.
That's what made it big.
Flooding or whatever the case may be.
We have the best, right? We're supposed to have the best.
They were not sounded because of these fires. And that was the number one question. Why wouldn't you sound the alarm system? We had to wait until 8 or 9 days after when he came out to this press conference and he was asked, do you regret not sounding the alarms? Because they weren't broken. They worked. And he said, I don't regret it. And the reason is because, he says, we have been trained as people, when we hear the alarm, we believe that a tsunami is coming. And we have been trained to know that if a tsunami is coming, you head towards the hills. You head away from the ocean and towards the mountains. That is such bullshit.
Somebody told them that line. That's the best line you can come with.
BJ, you know this because we all get the alarms on our phones.
Yep.
Say, hey, there was an earthquake near Japan.
Yep.
Tsunami may come to Hawaii in 3 days or 4 days. Be aware. And we got all of our geologists and all these people. They're tracking this. We have, like, a tsunami doesn't pop up out of nowhere. That's something that we have. So if that alarm sounds and we haven't gotten that notice, there's something else.
When we would know like this, there's
there
something
was
else.
Smoke.
You just
Like,
look at the ocean.
Couldn't they send an alarm to your phones that said there's a fire?
Yes. Yes.
You know, I don't know if he was,
So what happened with the water? There was also some controversy about the water not being utilized.
I think the power went down and then the water pumps went down from what I, right?
So the power did go out for a little while. According to the electric company, the power was restored and was not connected to the water. Firefighters didn't have access to water when they needed it to effectively try to fight these fires. There was a hurricane winds, and so obviously it grew and spread like a blowtorch across the town of Lahaina. But even in the other, in upcountry Maui and Kula, when I went up and talked to some of the residents up there who also saw, I don't know, it was like almost 600 acres that were burned through. Homes were burned down, and they were trying to help each other. Neighbors were trying to help each other because you see, okay, hey, there's fires starting. Let's all get our hoses and turn on the water and try to do what we can until the firefighters get here. They turned on their hoses, and it was just like dribbles of water. And so literally they're going and like scooping water out of their toilet bowls and like, oh gosh, there's a little bit of water like from the last time it rained stuck in like our kid's bucket, like literally getting water from wherever, bottles of water, trying to fight fires in their community to save people's homes.
And watching people dying while that's happening, watching children burn. I was talking to my friend, he was a big part of my campaign. The last campaign, he said, hey, BJ, children, animals burning, you trying to fight it with water that you don't have.
There's a lot of real estate speculation happening right now that is really frustrating. And I just want to remind all you real estate investors around the world, like Lahaina is not for sale. Please don't reach out to these families and take advantage of them during the most devastating time of our lives.
We just heard from our reporter and from a couple of women who say that they were upset about what tourists were doing. Now you're telling me that there are real estate investors reaching out to people about their property. What's going on exactly?
Yes, homeowners have been reached out by investors and realtors offering to buy their land. And this is disgusting. And we just want to make sure that people around the world understand our situation and know that Lahaina is not for sale.
There's mixed reaction tonight from Maui, where Oprah Winfrey recently bought hundreds of acres of ag land in upcountry.
Now, we were the first to tell you about this earlier this week. Some disagree with the buy, but as KATU4's Ali Duklo explains, 2 lawmakers say it's actually a good thing.
She's always been a great steward of our land, whether it be to preserve it.
That's why Decoit calls the acquisition a positive purchase.
I wish we had more people like her that consider when we purchase lands, that they consider some of the reactions of the community from the past of how we've just been inundated with just a whole lot of development and tourism.
Ulupalakua Ranch declined comment on the transaction, and we have been trying to get into contact with Winfrey and her organization.